Okay. Okay, I'm Dan Cohen, I'm Vice President of the FDPC, and I call this meeting to order. I guess we'll say the pledge. Okay, we're going to start today. It's January. It's kind of a reorganization meeting here. So we're going to go ahead and start with our names and kind of tell each other you know, how we got to the Heritage and Cultural Center. I guess I'll begin with myself. I am Dan Coyne. I've lived in this wonderful town for 22 years. I joined the Heritage and Cultural Center, I don't know, it was about 5 years ago or something like that. And yeah, and I've been on this board for several years now.
John Faulkner, I've lived in McCandless since 1958. And I came to the Heritage Center with actually Sue's husband and myself. We were here before they opened the doors and we were doing work. I mean, the original setup that we had.
Awesome.
I've lived here, well, I was born in Pittsburgh, so then lived out here since '64. But as John said, we were kind of the first people that were here and chugged along with, trying to get, and then when we got people to help, that knew what they were doing, that was a real.
We were able to work with Joe. We were able to work with Joe.
Yeah.
Really? That's great. That's great. Don Hart, my parents built a house here in 1970, and I moved. I lived a couple places around town, and then moved back in '98. Bought a house in Pine Run, over off of Pump Run.
And what ward are you?
I'm 6'4".
What?
That's Remington area, Remington Drive area, like the Pine Run, some of the Brook.
Yeah,
That general location.
And you are our liaison.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm Angela O'Connor. I'm the Parks and Rec coordinator for McCandless. I started here last summer, McCandless, and this is my first meeting up here with you guys.
I'm John Bajarski. I mostly deal with public information, but obviously this has been a big part of my job. Been with the town since 2016. Again, before the place opened, and obviously Suzanne and Dawn were two of our original volunteers. So I do remember when this actually looked emptier.
You wrote the bird.
I'm Kevin Kennedy. I've been on the board since it started. Way back when, I don't even know how many years, about 6 years now. And I think what I bring to the board is a little bit more of my background in marketing communication and design.
I am Rob Bukolski, and I've only been here about in the Wexford area a little over a year. So my wife is a Pittsburgh girl, though, from the Mon Valley. So her parents are there. We moved back, and so we just did that about a year ago. And really, what we've done is we worked a lot in the Chicago area with their history programs, as well as their Parks and Recreation area to redo parks, and quite frankly, working with a lot of people trying to do what you guys actually did here. So you guys actually, I worked with a lot of people there who talked about doing things a lot. You guys actually did it. So it's really impressive. And I know that, and I just appreciate every time I come here, it's like, this had to take a ridiculous amount of work just to get to this point. I mean, this had to be, it's amazing. So I've been impressed since we moved here with the entire program here within the whole McCandless area. It's been really impressive. So I look forward to being able to work. We'll talk about the stuff I do on the YouTube channel that I'm looking to be able to assist with, and other items that we've worked with as well, because we're used to working with a lot of corporate donors from where we were before, as well as the electronic piece. I'd love to talk. I'm going to talk to John a little bit about some of handling the social media platforms as well. So I'd love to get your background from the marketing standpoint. it's so impressive here. Like, it is just something.
We're a lot to these folks here.
It's no
Sorry,
joke.
yeah.
It's like, this is something. A lot of people talk about this, but you guys actually did it. It's a different thing to actually do it.
I just jumped on the train, I was already fully going. So.
I just came a couple weeks ago. My name is Wendy Moore. I'm the executive director here at the HCC. My background is in education. I'm a full-time history teacher. And I'm just very excited to be here and start working with everybody.
All right, so we do need to elect new officers, executive officers for the FDPC. I guess we'll begin with the president. Do we have any nominations?
I will, I'll make a nomination with Dan going to be the elected president of the board.
Accept that nomination. Everybody, you have a second?
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any nays? Any abstentions? Oh, okay, I guess I am. Thank you, I appreciate it, thank you very much.
After some week.
Yeah. That's, all right, do we have any nominations for vice president?
This gentleman right here. I'll nominate, yeah, so I will accept it.
Okay, second that nomination, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Okay. All right, Rob, you are now vice president. All right. And then we have one other position here, treasurer. I will nominate Captain. Are you interested in that?
Well, I've served in different positions.
Yeah.
In the past, and I want to make sure that,
Hmm.
so your husband was a fine treasurer for years. Are you interested
I
in
was-
serving as a?
No, but I'm interested in offering Dawn.
Because I wanted to see if anybody else, because I'm happy to take a back seat.
Okay,
I'm the treasurer for men's group.
And he's like,
so, all right, he has experience.
I just need your, that tell me what's involved with. it.
Don, did you serve as an officer at all before?
On the board, no.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, I move that we nominate Don. for the treasurer. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Don, you are treasurer. Okay, very good. Everybody else is a member of the board. We do, Wendy Moore is here. She's our executive director. She is not yet an actual member of the board, but I am going to move that we allow Wendy to be an active member of this meeting today. Since she is the executive director of the Heritage and Cultural Center. So can I get a second on that? Okay. All right, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Okay, very good. All right, so Wendy will be doing a lot of the work here in this meeting. All right, thank you, folks. Excellent. We have some announcements. We have updates for January. Go ahead.
So as you can tell, we are pretty cleaned out right now. The volunteers did a great job in taking down our Christmas decorations, our holiday decorations, and moving the majority of our collections that we have up here down to the basement so we can split up our displays and move things around to mix it up for when we reopen in February. Last I heard, and I didn't confirm that with Brian today, they're supposed to be here starting next week to split up our display cases. I was really hoping he'd confirm it tonight, so I will just continue to ask. But that is what I heard, that they are supposed to come next week, barring any additional stuff.
I'd like to take a moment really just to recognize
They did so much.
the amount of work that the volunteers have done. Putting up Christmas, taking it down. It's just, it's really amazing what they do on a regular basis. Say it.
I'll let them know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It really, I saw it, just saw it. Okay. Anybody else on January?
Just a question, I mean, is the plan all in place and they know exactly what to do?
The plan's in place. I shared my lovely drawings with them on what to do. So they just have to come. The big thing is getting those split up. Even if they just split those up, we can get the rest done. I mean, I could split them up, but it probably won't look so great.
Yeah.
So the plan is in place to have it more chronological, so it's telling the story of McCandless on this side. We'll have special collections over there. So the plan is in place. We just have to get these split up and then refill everything.
Are they, I'm just offering later if you need it, but are they gonna split it up and then we have to move it, or will they?
They were going to be able to move it,
Okay.
yeah. But it depends on the weather.
Okay.
If they're all busy
Yeah.
clearing stuff. I mean,
The roads come first.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
We'll move on to workshops for museum directors.
So I purchased some books from my own, not from the budget, on various, the new research for museums. So I've been reading through those. And then there's a lot of webinars, that are available for free for museum workers, including, any volunteers, if you know of any volunteers who want to do like more training with, accessioning items. They're all on Zoom or Teams, and they're free. The ones that I do are free. So they're just being very helpful in getting me acclimated to the museum world. It's been a while since I worked in a museum. So just wanted to let people know that those are available, and I'll start sharing those with Suzanne so she can distribute those ideas to others.
That'd be great. I appreciate you doing that.
That's great. All right, we'll move on to public comment on agenda items. Any public comments?
Is there a spare agenda?
Oh, there you go.
Move on. Reports on committees. So we're gonna have to, we're gonna define some committees and talk about how we're going to populate those committees. So the suggestion is at this point to create 4 committees. And we'll abandon the committees that we had prior. This would be marketing and communications. Be 1 committee. Fundraising. Second committee, programming. 3rd committee, and the 4th committee would be volunteers. Can we get some discussion about those committees? Or does anybody see any problems with those 4, or are we missing any?
4 big things.
I thought it covered it. I thought Wendy came up with it. I thought it kind of covered
Both
Needs.
marketing and.
the marketing and communication. So can I get a movement to a motion to rather accept those committees?
That'd be great.
Okay, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. So those will be our 4 committees in 2024. What do you think? How do you want to?
So how I was thinking it through, and if this isn't making sense, just let me know. That we would set dates for the committees to meet. It could be in the evenings, it could be on a weekend, depending on what the committee members want. And I also thought that we could advertise to the public who want to participate in the HCC, but not necessarily be here and be a docent in the museum or work in the basement, that they could contribute through those committees in a different way. So my first thought was to get somebody from our board to be in charge of each committee. I would be on every committee. But if someone in the board could like be in charge of the committee, I will do all kinds of stuff to help, but
I think the way the council runs their committees is that everybody's part of every committee. There's a leader who reports out.
so it'd be like a leader.
Yeah, so let's have some discussion about that, about ideas about how these committees ought to run, or what, best practices for these committees. I know, we formed committees, what, a couple of years ago, and they really didn't meet, and
Part of the problem is there's only 5 of us.
Yeah.
Many of us.
Right.
It was almost just a single person.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Anybody have any ideas about what we ought to do?
Are the committees exclusive to just the board, Or can?
No, we would be opening it
So
up
we could
to,
draw like.
to
aspects
the
from
volunteers, to the public, to get more people involved in the HCC. is
Well,
what
it's an interesting idea of, having the public in.
Yeah, volunteers are one great resource and then public.
Volunteers, public, because I know people who would like to help, but they can't commit hours every week,
Sure.
and that would be a way for them to assist.
And has it worked in the past where like when you do have this, because obviously we have these meetings which are pretty, can be pretty high level because you don't have time to drill down in great detail. Is that where kind of like?
The work
The work.
action.
You know, you
Yeah.
hash it out, you put together stuff.
I think that's the theory, to
And we'll
this
see how
point,
it works.
Joe would bring a lot of ideas, but,
But a lot of the work was done by Abby and Joe.
Yeah, you think it's down to two or three
Right.
people actually do. it.
Yeah.
And everybody else would sort of help out sometimes with it.
We've made a group on Wednesdays.
Yeah, they're so, they do it,
And
they're amazing.
you know, that's worked out really well. And I usually work on Fridays, but, you know, we've been doing, you know, did all this stuff and I like working with the volunteers. You know,
Mm.
tells us what to do and we can, you
Oh.
know.
Give them ideas and then they just run with
Right.
it.
To me, that'd be the most obvious, I could say it this way, but you being. in
The
charge of
volunteer,
Volunteers, obviously you've got just your depth of knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can match that.
We've done, I think, a lot of stuff, so, and
Yeah.
everybody seems to like coming in on Wednesday. And they even changed their time today, you know, so that as long as, I mean, I think it works out well.
would you like to head up the, volunteers?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I want.
So I'll second that. So like, yeah, you've got the depth. That's pretty obvious.
Okay, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay.
That's-
All right, Suzanne will head up the volunteers committee. Programming, I will volunteer to do that, to head up that, committee.
Yeah, that would be great.
I could definitely assist you with that.
Yeah, and I'll need a lot of assistance,
Yeah.
it was, kind of a failing of mine last, so I'll try to be better at it. But it's basically, and like, it's just kind of, we're all gonna come up with programming ideas. And I'll just kind of formally present them to this group. However that goes. Fundraising,
I think it should be Robert.
okay.
I just need, who did this in the past? Who was kind of like a good
Who's
person?
Joe?
No.
No, that's-
Good Joe, okay.
Yeah.
And you've already, you're,
I have reached out to. Joe.
you're working on it, you're working on it.
So let me, let's see, so let's see, I'll definitely accept it for. Get started with, I gotta figure out the current state, like what do we have going on right now?
Mhm.
Is there stuff going on right now that?
So
Carryover from last year.
there's
We did the
drive-in movies, there's,
golf, no,
the par 3 golf outing. They're in that PowerPoint,
Okay.
I think they're in that PowerPoint I sent you.
That a program is actually fundraising,
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm seeing what you're getting at, like there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah, and the aim was purely fundraising, but, I think as we start breaking things down. I didn't see what's what, but
And I'm assuming that gets into, like, because I know Joe would talk about, he has some corporate donors as well.
Yeah,
At least from previous experience, I know we gotta maintain that relationship.
That's right.
Relationship base. So would Joe be the one that has the list of who those
yeah.
corporate donors are, the 20 people? 'Cause I do fear that we have to, you don't stoke those relationships, they burn out.
Fizzle.
Yeah, it does a lot and it's all things like
Can
that.
somebody like Joe, who's not part of the committee anymore, still be, one of the main people that corporate?
provide a lot of information, I think.
Yeah.
And, I mean, his historical information and context, I think it would be great for him to provide that
He had,
information.
he's been from around here and
Yeah.
knows.
he knows everything.
Knows everybody.
So let me do this, is I've already tried it, well, I'll continue to get in contact with Joe.
Yes,
Sit down and just find out at least what do we currently have, who are the current 20 people? And I can definitely assist.
The other person, She just emailed me that. I'll look it up and send it
Yeah,
to you
yeah.
from the township. she's the person who keeps all of our records.
Just, you
All
know,
our financial.
I have no issues, as John knows, calling or setting up time.
I
for
can't-
anything. I'm not just.
Can't remember for the life of me here.
I think-
You're speaking of Trisha Greathouse.
Yeah, thank you.
Trisha would have the record of who gave what,
Yes,
but
not
probably,
necessarily contact.
yeah, so Joe would have, like, if you say ABC Business, would have a name and phone number attached to it.
Yeah.
Trisha's only gonna have the business
company.
name.
Okay, so Joe's the main guy.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, it would probably be great for us to have like our own database.
So I made,
I don't know if Joe ever.
I made a email address for the direct, it's like director.hcc. So we have all of our Google Docs on there. Dan is the recovery email, so if something happens to me and I just disappear, not that I'm going to. All those records, you will still have access to. So he's like the recovery, so he can reset the password if he wants to kick me out.
Don, this is just my opinion, but I think you need to be
Yeah.
sort of. You know, primary on that fundraising committee too,
Okay.
because
So
it's
I
crazy.
got it on it.
You'll be hearing a lot of that, and it's
Yeah.
it's really what our numbers are, our fundraising. expenses.
So I'll get to Joe, and see if we can get just, I'll offer again, buy him lunch, breakfast, whatever.
Yeah.
And get, or coffee, and just get to the list of who do we have to make sure we maintain. Minimum number one is, maintain. And then secondly, if we want to grow, like, where do we go? But at minimum, we need to maintain what the relationships are we have. And so I'll take point on that. And then if I get those, can I post them to the Google?
Yeah.
The Google Drive?
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet already there ready to put people in that we can get money from.
Okay, good. Okay, so she has a common Google Drive that we can.
Yeah,
all
and I
get
didn't have
contacts.
to put you on.
Oh, okay, okay, so
So
that'll
I
be
need
our-
to get you.
all right, so that'll be our meeting.
And Dawn.
Put, like, as we get stuff,
Yeah.
I'll post it up there, so we can be able to.
Yeah, so we can all access it. So if something happens to us individually, we will have access to all that.
So I'll do that as my next step, is we get to go.
Then marketing and communication.
I.
Yeah, I was thinking you.
Do that, and I, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Also seem to be interested in that, so we can, put them up.
And I don't know how much of a problem it would be if Joe was, I don't know if there's a, conflict of interest or anything like that, I don't think there should be, but if Joe was to be, like, if we open up the committees to
This is the
the public, well, he's.
Would there
might
be
be
any
serving a
problem?
council, also a member of the
No.
public.
No.
He could probably work with it.
It's the public, he's the public, he's also the public.
Yeah, he's on board, but he's.
Yeah, it's an interest, so.
I think it's
He's
not
involved.
expect
I'm sure he's.
the hours that he was putting in previously.
Right, but he'd be able to help Rob out and then get.
Yeah, and he may, and again, if it works as I'm used to it working, we need kind of a warm handoff of things as opposed to, I'm out of here. Like, no, it's like a
Yeah.
warm handoff, of, like, usually those things are high touch. Usually it's not transactional, usually relationships, and so that's my bet, because he probably has relationships set up with some of these folks. So we're gonna need that warm handoff, so I'll work with them on the best way to do that. So I'll get in contact with them.
Thanks. All right,
So then our next steps would be for you guys to check your calendar, the people who are in charge of the committee. Pick a date, time, we can meet here. We can meet on Teams or Zoom, whatever works for you. Just so we can start getting plans and things in place. Does that sound good to you?
yeah,
And on the fundraising side of things, in the next meeting, I'll have one to do with Joe, so we can just meet with us, like, or whoever.
Yeah,
That
okay.
meeting, sort of.
Yeah.
Mouse is done.
I I think it's important for these committees to be, to meet, but I also am aware that, time
Yeah.
every times.
Yeah.
And this is just, it'll be who I contact about these various things too.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we ready to move on? Okay. Right. Old business. Budget allocation, budget for fundraise.
Yeah, so I was hoping Brian was gonna be here today, just so we are clear on what our fundraising goals are. He gave me a spreadsheet. He was very helpful. We went over the spreadsheet. I'm still not sure I understand it correctly, so I don't wanna say the number that we need, just in case I did not understand the spreadsheet. But it is above $25,000 is our goal. So that is what covers our cost. Is around $25,000. So our goal is to get above $25,000 in donations.
Is it possible, like, with fundraising, like, we can kind of, as a group, look at books where we were last year, what did we raise? You know, what carried over, what's not.
Yeah, I have, he did give me, the spreadsheets from last year. It wasn't quite finished yet because the gala
Yeah.
wasn't calculated. So I'll check with him and see what the,
Is that something that we can talk about next week, that we could have or not, next meeting?
yeah,
Okay.
that should be.
I totally agree, like, what's the current, like,
Yeah, yeah.
what's worked, what's not, because my bet is there's gonna be 80% of the activities, like, generated most of that, like that.
That's gonna picture both.
McCandless Community, oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. Dan.
Okay, McCandless Community Association.
We don't really have any updates on them. They are gonna be helping us with fundraising and with using their nonprofit status, potentially to be able to apply for the larger grants. But that is still being figured out. My understanding is they're not having a meeting until March, so I don't know anything more about that.
That's our 501(c)(3).
Yes.
Okay, so we can use that if we are looking for donations, we can't at least say these guys are a 501.
Yeah.
I don't think we can say that officially yet.
But
Yeah.
that's.
We're working on that.
Yeah.
That is
We're working in that.
supposedly the intent. I'm not putting any eggs in a basket until I see it in writing.
Yeah.
And just speaking in terms of council, if you are seeking this out, I am very excited that if somebody wants to give money to a nonprofit as the pass-through kind of thing.
Yeah.
But remember that the MCA is not the Heritage Center. The
Yes.
Heritage Center is an asset of the town.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have to keep that in mind, that it is a separate entity altogether. We're not, there's no official, legal, otherwise affiliation between the Heritage Center and the MCA. We have to make that very clear.
Do you know how
I think once they're formalized, then would probably need legal advice then as to how we would work with them.
Yeah, I mean, and then, like, so let's say there's the Grable Foundation. They have millions to give away every year. I'd love to see Grable Foundation give some money, give 50,000 to the MCA, and that acts as literally a pass-through that then can be used to support programs here at the Heritage Center, is what, like, my vision of it would be. But, you know, it's just very clear that the MCA is not part of the town. That there's a complete divide and it has nothing to do with the town. So that we have to keep that in mind, so we can't say the MCA is there for the sole support of the Heritage Center. The MCA can support whatever the heck they want, because they're not affiliated with the town.
And do you know how it's worked in the past with some of the corporate donors that we've gotten here? Has it gone through MCA as a
No,
pass through?
this is a check to the town.
Yeah, it's,
It goes right to the town.
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't go, yeah.
that was the relationship that
Okay.
hopefully the MCA can help us with, because everything was going
Right.
based on the
And there are
original.
some grants that are available to nonprofits that are not available to municipalities.
Yeah.
So
I get it,
hopefully
okay.
that world of funding can be tapped.
Through the MCA. using
Okay,
their
so I do
private-
get, like, strategically that would work then if you get that, I mean, that's the strategic,
Mhm.
Position.
Like the Grable Foundation won't give money to a town.
you got it, yeah.
The National Association for Humanities will only give it if you have a 501(c)(3).
Is that, where is that going with 501(c)(3)?
That, the McCandless
Yeah.
Community Association would
Will
potentially, they have a 501(c)(3).
Okay,
So if we can apply for grants through them, but I'm still not sure with the NEA and the National Endowment for Humanities. If we would be able to use somebody else's 501(c)(3). That's still unclear.
McCandless owns this building and property and everything. Are they going to object to us, you know,
If you separate the physical building
Okay.
from the programming and what the support would be, I think what we're looking for is money to support our programming, and we're all hopefully holding hands and wanting to do good things together, so there's not.
it makes sense to me.
Yes,
but
if there's
that-
any disagreements, they would be
Yeah.
handled cordially by their colleagues, and
They're not.
you know.
Yeah.
You're raising.
No, yeah. no,
The only reason usually it's an issue of one's a for-profit organization, like, it's funny, my neighbor works for the Moonshot Museum where they have. It's a museum attached to a for-profit organization, which is Astro Robotics, which is putting lunar man on something. But they set up their museum, which is inside the headquarters as a 501c, let's say, so they can get. They can apply for grants and everything, even though they're attached to a for-profit. Like after, because it's a for-profit, they gotta.
Is it just a transition into the 501c3?
Yes, I
We
understand.
become that?
No, the 50s, that
Right.
existed. And rather than establishing a new one, because that existed, and Joe worked with them to sort of. Change the focus of that to be more in line with what we want to do. So
I don't think.
I was trying to follow the legalese at the time,
Yeah,
and
I
I know
think
they're
it
not
was.
connected,
Yeah,
but we are associated all trying to do the same things. It
And
allows us to raise money differently.
will our funding, half of it go to McCandless?
I don't really know.
So now
Yeah,
it's-
in the original charter based on for capital.
yeah, the
Yeah,
charter's
yeah.
not been changed this time.
So
And that would continue.
I think that's the intent of council. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
Is that
think,
up to the 25,000? Is that?
no, that was, we talked about, and Joe proposed an up to point.
Yeah.
But there was still a lot of inconsistencies on, like Joe wanted in-kind donations to count toward it, and the council didn't want some in-kind donations to count. Like, we can't pay the lights with sandwiches.
Yeah,
right.
So we don't, they also want to make sure that money in reserve as well,
Mhm.
of just general operating costs. And
No.
we haven't crossed that. bridge, this is the bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot of things were still being hashed out. We're not
Until
let go, but.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be. When it's resolved, and if it's hopefully being resolved by March, or at least. That's
I'm
when
not sure, we'll have to talk about much, I see it coming soon, but
Yeah.
definitely there's a discussion.
For now,
Let's have a discussion.
Yeah,
we're continuing as we always were,
Right.
under the.
yeah, nothing's changed,
Until it
in the legal ordinances or
Yeah.
anything like that.
All right, so we just keep doing what we're doing and try to raise money.
Nothing changes until it changes.
All right. Anything else on the MCA? Okay, very good. The year-end report to council and board.
That I believe is gonna be in February. I believe the second meeting of the month is what I was informed. And Joe said he was gonna send that to Kevin sometime by the end of next week to make it.
All right, questions or comments on that? Plan second grade field trips and alternative options.
So on the original calendar, there was all these second grade field trips on there. I contacted the superintendent and the person in charge of the second grade, and I was having a really difficult time, getting them to contact me back. Very busy, I understand. But I have a meeting on Monday at 3:30 with the person who's in charge of the second grade. I was concerned with having the field trips here because the volunteers didn't know if they would be able to do it. And right now our staff doesn't have their clearances. So to have a bunch of school children over here without clearances was very concerning. So that is something else that I wanted to.
That's taking a lot longer too. If you're getting there,
Okay.
yeah. It used to be something that can be done in a month or two, and now they're backlogged. 6 months.
Yeah, they,
I've experienced that exact same thing for my daughters.
yeah, for a museum worker, they only need the 2. They just need the, they don't need the fingerprinting.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's-
With occasional contacts, but I don't think if they're on file with the town, I'm not aware of it, but we don't have any on file here. And that's what we need to have we need to have clearances on file.
You used to have a clearance, does that make anything?
They're
slide?
dated.
They're dated, they're every 3 years.
Yeah.
It's got much more
Yeah.
more stringent.
And we
Well-
have to keep them on file here, not me who has clearances because I'm a teacher
Mhm.
at my district. It doesn't count for me to work here, for me to volunteer
Yeah.
here. I have to have
Another.
volunteer clearances to work here or a copy of those.
Now, we had you and Dick and my wife, now, we had clearances from the Highmark Carrington. There is a cost with that. Okay, and
Yeah.
Highmark picked up the cost, what would we do in the case of our volunteers?
That's a
I
great
would
point.
think that would be a line item expense.
Yeah, I'd have to check in, but,
It's nominal, I think it's.
yeah, it's not very much. It might be $5 clearance.
It's, yeah,
Um,
we should be able to do that for our
I thought
volunteers.
it was more than that, but that's what.
Yeah,
If it is, it's 50, no.
Hmm. I think we would have to try to cover.
Yeah, I
that.
don't think it's.
For work, I know they cost a lot more, but for volunteering, I believe it's a lot less.
oh, okay.
Like, cause I don't know, they do more. For like me and Dan who work with students, it's more costly.
I love that you have such experience working with students. That's great. I don't think you need anybody with better depth than that.
Where are we?
I also offered some alternatives such as, us taking some items there for them to do, to work with the actual artifacts in their classes as opposed to them coming here.
We talked about like sort of a trunk or a roadshow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As an alternative. The other item that I wasn't sure of, and I couldn't find any official thing for it, is what is our fire code? How many people are we allowed in the building?
48. I think.
48, okay, I had 48 or 42.
Yeah.
So a bus of students is 52 students. So if we even bring one bus at a time, we're over with plus our volunteers. So that is also a concern with fire code and having all those,
How about the high school students?
the homeschool students, we would be able to limit it to 15. So plus parents, plus our volunteers, we would way be less than 48. So
Just
that's
try
under
to-
new business. But
Oh,
for the field trips, those were just some of my concerns with it, and that's what I'll be talking with Miss. I'm really bad at names. The second grade coordinator on Monday, to see what alternatives we can come up with.
But I like your approach of like, let's go with what we think will work, like.
Yeah.
Those that start out as easy as versus inventing something brand new right off the bat. Homeschool is the easier place to start. Let's
Yeah,
do that.
15 kids.
Let's do that. Let's. keep
We can
going.
limit it.
Okay, move on to, update on the construction and movement of exhibits.
So there was talk about that library being built in the basement. I talked to Brian O'Malley today, and he has major concerns about the ADA requirements in the basement, which
Mhm.
Right. access.
totally thought so too.
Yeah, you nailed that.
So he's gonna bring it up for council discussion sometime in the future. So that is definitely pushed back, but to get the exhibits broken up, that is tentatively gonna start next week, depending on, the weather.
Yeah, if there are ADA issues about with that, and if we have to move that or rethink that. I think it'll break my heart. Yeah, but I'm just wondering, even if we put that like an office down there, could it still be the same ADA issues?
I don't believe so, because the public wouldn't be down there. There's also places in the basement for bathrooms, for a bathroom down there, so if that was a concern, we can always put a bathroom down there. Ferguson said they would donate, Ferguson's is a plumbing supply company, they would donate anything that we need to build those bathrooms. And, a local plumbing company already said they would install anything in the basement. If we wanna go that route, if there's
So
concerns
there's
about,
lines there?
there's lines, they were built,
Yeah, probably is quite cut out. and good.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, so we'll see. So that construction is, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Any other comment on?
With the ADA, so like if it was of interest to put the library down there.
Yeah.
If you had accommodations up here, like one office was available. Do you have to have full access to the basement? Or
So
can you
if
make
the
accommodations?
library, from my understanding, and Brian O'Malley was gonna look into the legal parts of it. If it is a public space in the basement, if the library is considered a public space in the basement, we need to make it accessible.
Okay.
And having people go on a gravel road, accessible.
Yeah.
And there's problems with the doors have to have so many windows in them. So there's a couple different things that just add more to the cost.
No,
So, Dan and I talked about doing an office down there or doing something differently than a public item. And we were very interested in looking at that.
Make that the library, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, we don't need the office out here.
Yeah.
We can use it for other things, so we had some ideas around that, so.
We'll move on to new business.
I do have a calendar, I was having trouble with my printing, so I will email it to Joe, he can get, or John. If that's all right, John, and you can get it out to everybody with, updated things. So a lot is different in this version. Things that were on the other calendar, it seemed they were tentative with no confirmations or even communication with the people that were scheduled to speak. So I do have an updated version that will be sent out, with tentative, special events displays. UPMC is coming to do some workshops, those are tentative, but we have a speaker every month already scheduled and confirmed. So we can publicize that. I'm gonna get that over to you, Kevin.
Yeah, what's happening in February?
In February, we have the Alzheimer's Association coming.
And they had their own.
They have their own brochure, but they wrote the wrong date on it.
Oh.
So I emailed her back and say, hey, this is January, let's fix it. So they should be getting that back to me, so we can start publicizing.
What day is that for?
The 22nd, February 22nd is our first item.
So really, there's nothing that we have to do for that, just get the chairs set up.
To get the chair set up.
I assume they need Wi-Fi.
The Wi-Fi's working, it's working wonderfully. It was down, what day was I here? Monday, I was here on Monday because I was off, and Brian was like, I'll get right on that. And he did, he got it fixed. And now I have contact people, if it goes down again, I can just contact them and not bother Mr. O'Malley. Collections policy.
Okay.
So in the collection policy, it says no food or drinks are permitted up here. Is that something we want to look to amend?
Yes.
Yes,
I think, you know, it, depending on the configuration and where you put them, I think there was when we did that policy way back when was that this would be, there could be a lot of damage to things that were sitting out. So if we're gonna adjust that, we should just try.
And we have broken that policy and it's all worked out.
I know, that's what the board, the council officially approved. So if we're going to do something differently, I just want to have it officially approved again by the council.
Part of the policy is for people who rented the place, right? It was rather than.
Yeah. It was also, it was for people who came in, who couldn't have like drinks, or we weren't supposed to be giving out food and
right,
drinks.
Oh, you could, Christmas party.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So if we're, and I'm okay with it, I just want to officially amend it, so and have that approved by council, just so we're not going against what was.
Where it came from was the, librarians were concerned about having food.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's,
Ice around the.
Yeah.
You know, the items.
It's a legitimate concern,
Yeah,
and I think we just need to maybe come up with
Very-
a prudent policy.
Yeah.
One that, allows us to practice, our own, conscientious use of this, but, and not, we should prevent people from coming in and, because they won't be as careful, but, yeah, so we'll just come up with some more prudent language.
and one of the items that was talked about at the last meeting was to rent it out a little bit more. And if we don't have that food and drink policy, people are, nobody wants to go somewhere where you can't eat and drink.
Yeah.
So, just to get it officially approved by council, because right now,
At the same time, we need to protect the porch.
yes. So we'll come up with Dan and I will work on that. The other part of that collections policy is we don't have an education collection. So a lot of museums, what they do is they have their archival collection and then they have an education collection. And usually the education collection is items that they have duplicate of. And those items are what is loaned out to different organizations. I'm thinking our schools. So those would be the items that we can send to a school that we have multiple of, that we decide they are not perfect for our collection, but they would be good in teaching students about history. And that would be our education collection, that if it's damaged or something, it's not hurting our actual archive. Is this
Yeah.
making sense? Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of, museums have these almost like two levels of collections. And I just wanted to see your guys' thoughts on that before I proceeded to do research and write it up. I'm seeing a lot of head
To me,
nods.
that makes sense to me because I'd rather somebody be using it
Yeah,
versus not having somebody getting value. as
That
opposed
was
to
to
it.
do with our library.
no, not our library, well, and not necessarily our library, but our, think about the phones. Do you know how many phones we have down there? We probably have about 20 to 30
Oh,
phones.
So picking up.
We take about 3 of those, make those our educational collection
Okay.
from different time periods and send those and say, okay, let's, art projects. Let's look at famous paintings with art in them. Let's draw all these phones. What do they all have in common? How can you make this cubist? Like, how can you do all that kind of stuff?
That sounds,
And that's not even like the history stuff.
yeah.
I love the idea because it
Mhm.
just gets them.
It gets them like
Yeah, be
touching
utilized.
hands-on items.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if you mark the items.
We would mark them as
They're from-
educational, and then we would provide informational
here.
pieces. Yeah,
You know, and if you're interested in learning more.
come here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could go to your social media too, say,
Hey,
hey,
check out the school.
yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are talking about World War II era, this is what the phones look like, this is what,
Yep.
we used in our kitchen, blah, 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 love it.
Excellent. All right, continue here, homeschooling workshops.
So we talked about doing the homeschooling workshops at the last one. This is where we would have approximately 15 students come in. They would analyze an artifact, and we would also give them a primary source from our library that goes with it. They would write a little something about it, and we would display it as our exhibit. So that would bring more people in. It helps the homeschools get their history credits. It's something to do. 15 people plus parents, grades 12 or grades, I think I said grades 3 through 12, but we can make exceptions as needed. I just needed official approval before I start putting that together.
I love the idea. I absolutely love it. And we'll learn a lot from it. Yeah.
And doing it for the homeschooling, I would like to also use those artifacts later on for other events. So if we have our plan in place,
Yeah, you got it.
then we can use it for future.
Yeah, great start. Maybe, and then we'll adjust as you go. Let they keep saying if you want. That's a great idea.
Do we need to
What's it?
like vote or anything?
Oh,
Sorry, I'm not familiar with.
yeah, let's see, we're voting on what here?
Homeschooling workshops.
Okay, can I get a motion to move forward with the homeschooling, workshops?
There's a motion.
Second, and everybody in favor, say aye. Anybody, any nays? Okay.
One question for you, when you were talking about like them creating something, but the students would be, writing about something, what was you saying? And you were talking about showing that.
We would put it in our special events cases.
Okay,
There would be like the artifact, the primary source, and then what they analyze about it, just like a historian would.
okay, because you had mentioned a little bit about like having people.
Then
feedback and stuff like that.
they
Like, it was
would
good
bring
for
in
efforts for that.
people to come in. We could, if we decide to, and we can make it an event in an evening on a Friday to come and see the special event and have, because we're gonna change our food and drink policy. Drink. So just, it'll bring more people in, like, Grandma, come see my stuff that I did at the museum.
Yeah, I just like the interactivity.
Yeah.
Of reading what other people are doing.
Yeah.
seeing their-
Are there any of the events that we have for the evening suitable for have something like that, like when we have art display? That was a good time to have a wine and cheese.
So there was the North Park photography display
Yeah.
as a fundraiser. I was thinking we could do the wine and cheese for that. For Westview Park, I thought we might be able to. That's something I was gonna
do
discuss.
something different, Westview Park goes over so well,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and but it would make it a little more festive.
yeah, and if we wanted to. And that's what I was gonna talk with the fundraising people. If we wanted to have people make a donation, to come early to those things, to come early to those speakers, to talk to the historian, to talk to the speaker ahead of time. Even if it's just 30 minutes, we can have a suggested donation for that and serve. You get a donated glass of wine. We're not allowed to sell it. A donated glass of wine and some cheese in front of those speakers or after those speakers, provided the speaker agrees. But that's something we could do for fundraising because people are already coming in, they're interested in the topic. We have some, I mean, there's some pretty, like for March, I have a women's speaker. She is like the historian about the women's suffrage movement. Like she is the person. She wrote the book that changed the way people look at historiography on women's history. And she's from CMU and she's coming in. Like, I mean, we have some pretty exciting people coming up. We have a speaker on, and this is later on in my thing. We have Shanna Brody, who from the Pittsburgh Holocaust Museum, whose parents and grandparents survived the Holocaust. So she's gonna come and share photos and pictures and her family's experiences. And she's from the northern area of Pittsburgh. So we have Harrison Apple, who is, he is also a CMU professor, but he started the Pittsburgh queer history movement. So he's going to talk about LBGT history in the area, and how that's impacted Pittsburgh and how it's changed so much in the last, 40 years. Tentatively, we have from the Three Rivers Native American Council, we have a speaker coming to talk about Native American history in Western Pennsylvania. And before, McCandless came and just talking about that, but that's tentative. They have not confirmed yet. They were making sure they had speakers. We have Joe Wall talking about North Allegheny football. Mike Funyak's coming to talk about Westview Park, and he is so excited. We have Mr. Jarvis, Ruth's husband. He's going to come in and talk about the history of telephones because he worked for Verizon or for a telephone company for years. So he really knows a lot about. We have a speaker coming, and I can't remember her name, I have it wrote down, on Pittsburgh's involvement in World War II. So we have a lot of rich history things coming up.
Nice. All right. All right, we'll move on to YouTube videos.
So our thought on this one is thanks to the hard work of Mr. Bajarski down there, we already have a YouTube channel for McCandless, and there is a playlist for the Heritage Center. So we don't have to create that new. It exists, it's approved, all of that. And we're thinking of be able to build content there so that people can obviously watch that in time. And so we wanted to go as fast as we could to be able to get something up there. So we're talking, like 2 to 4 minutes tops for a video of that. And we thought a great place to start would be a presentation of what the 2024 plan for the Heritage Center. And we could have Wendy present that out, very similar to the PowerPoint that she did last time. Clean that up a little bit, could even send that to the town council and say, hey, at your own leisure. It's there on the YouTube channel. Here's the plan for this year. And again, it's a highlight because it's on the PowerPoint. And then eventually we'd be able to work into doing short videos for the different artifacts. And then also, if we eventually want to move it into people who want to actually present something like the homeschool kids or something, now we have to get approval because they're under 18. But the intent would be to build out that playlist, which is basically a section on the already approved YouTube channel, and be able to drive content through there. And then again, if somebody sees something here, like they'll see this phonograph, and they could have a little code there that says just with your phone, if you click it, it'll bring you up that YouTube video of somebody talking about that exact thing. So it could be something. So that's the vision is to do that, but to get started quickly, we thought we could get started with just a 2 to 3 minute video of Wendy talking about with the PowerPoint. Here's the 2024 plan. It's building on the successes of the past, but also going into the future. Here's what we're looking to do. And then John, I'd obviously work with John to make sure I've got that posted appropriately, and probably Kevin, you as well, just to make sure that that's working correctly. Shouldn't be that difficult. So it's like usually the biggest issue is actually getting the darn thing established and approved, and it's already there, and you already have a playlist, and you already have a few things there, so it's there already. Then once you have that link, you can put that link on Facebook or email it out or put it on the Canvas website. You can just take that link and put it in on LinkedIn, wherever you want to put it. But that's our intent, is to get things started. It'll be a version 1.0, so we know things won't be perfect, but we'll learn So our intent when we talked about it was, let's get something out there, we'll learn from it. Again, I'm no Steven Silver, going to do the editing and everything. For 2 to 3 minutes. So that was our intent, is to get started as fast as possible. Just here's the overall, what we're thinking for 2024. Here's the vision, mission of the place. Here's the calendar. Here's the big things we're looking to get done.
We have, a lot of different people who are involved in social media. Supporting social media, and it sounds like you're very interested in that part of it. I know Abby was doing some of that, and Carolyn, and do we have access to our own social media?
We have access to our Facebook page.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have access to the site.
Okay, and YouTube is through the
through the town.
town.
Abby used to put on, she got a lot of response with pictures that we have.
I did, I was,
No, go ahead.
I was posting pictures right leading up to Christmas
Okay.
about different toys that we have on display. And
Yeah,
people seem
that's-
to be very
okay.
positive about that. I had, I'm still figuring out, and I was gonna talk to Dan about it. My goal is to post something Monday through Friday, every day of the week on Facebook. So like Monday, I was thinking, okay, let me start. Friday was going to be like, figure out this artifact. So it'd be an artifact and people would have to figure out how it was used. And then Thursday would be like something that I choose that I just like, that I wanted to post. And then we would have a library focus maybe on Wednesday. Tuesday, I was thinking of doing like a volunteer, and the volunteer's like favorite thing about McCandless or the Northern Allegheny area. And then Monday, something about the schools. But I was still figuring that out, and I wanted to talk to Dan about that before I started.
So people did get a response from the things that we put out.
Yeah. Yeah, people are responding, and we're getting more memberships like every day. It's popping up with more and more, so.
That's great. People from like out of town also see that.
Yeah.
The good thing too is once you start posting videos, you can present them in Facebook, you
Yeah.
can interact.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if we have the software where you can schedule out like your entire, like, post this on Facebook,
You
LinkedIn.
can do that on
this.
Facebook. You
Yeah.
can load them all in and schedule your posts.
You got it.
Yeah, that's what I was doing for Christmas. I would put them all in on Sunday, and then
Yeah.
bam, bam, bam,
Yeah,
bam,
so you're just spending 1 hour, one day loading it.
doing it, yeah.
Because it would be great to see that across all of the social platforms. Like,
Well,
one control thing across all.
You can do that, but do we, I mean, that's why I was asking, we don't have a Twitter account, we don't have an Instagram account, we don't have a.
Yeah, we were looking into other social media. Brian really did not want us to use Snapchat, so that's fine. If that's the one
Yeah.
thing he doesn't want us to do, that's perfectly fine. But we'll look into the other ones and see. From my understanding, and maybe the council would have, I don't
I
think,
got it right
does
up.
McCandless have,
There's an Insta.
there's an Insta?
Yeah, I got it.
I mean, that seems to be like the other one with Facebook that is.
So people, I'm starting to use Insta.
Yeah. That's one big cool. Yeah.
On TikTok. All right, any more on the videos? Or we good? Gotta get people out of here. So, year-long fundraising plans?
So we were planning to do the same fundraisers as before, and this will be something that I talked about with the fundraising committee. But I had some other ideas of things to do. We have all these really cool maps of the area that are old, and people love to put maps of where their house is on their wall. So I thought if we could set something up on Etsy where people could just order it, and we could just easily send them out, or we
That's a
could-
small problem.
Very good.
it'd be a
Yes.
fundraiser.
Right.
Would you make it, are these original maps you'd be selling, or pick one good one and make it available for purchase?
So it would be maps from, I was thinking we have that 1902 atlas, so it would be maps from where people currently live. So like I have, I ran out of time. We have a house down in Millvale that a friend lives in, so I was doing an example for that house of where the place is. My only problem is, and maybe Dan can help me with that, is I'm having a hard time finding northern, like this area in some of those older maps, so we'll have to look for it. Because because I think that'd be our population. But that was one of the fundraisers I thought. Notorious Pittsburgh, I know, was a great fundraiser, but it requires a ton of research. So I was going to attempt to do that research over the summer when I have more free time, so we could set that up for the following year. But in the meantime, one of the fundraisers I was thinking we could do breakout rooms where people, you know, the concept, and they have to like look at everything to solve a mystery. We could do those in like small groups, 45-minute sessions, and people could just sign up. We would set days that we would have blocks of time for, but if we had like 8 sessions a day, we charge about $25 per person. I mean, that would add up pretty quickly. But that's something we can look into. We could also do it while we were open. And just have, it wouldn't be a breakout, it would be like break into the trunk. You have to solve the mystery to open up the combination lock to get into the trunk. So it would still be while people were here, it wouldn't be like additional hours, although we could offer some evening times. And that would take research, but it wouldn't take as much research as Notorious Pittsburgh. That's what my thoughts were on that kind of stuff.
Is that something that I could look up on?
Like a breakout room?
Yeah, but I'm not real familiar.
Susan, we'll schedule a date and we'll go to it.
Yeah, sounds, I think it's, that'll be a lot of work too.
Yeah, I was thinking if we do the same one, I mean, it'll be a lot of work, but if we just do the same one and then add more in later on.
Yeah.
If it works, if people are interested. But the library doesn't do it, they do a murder mystery.
Okay.
So I was thinking it'd be similar, and they get huge turnouts for that. So I was thinking it's not the same because I don't want to take their ideas, but we could probably get people to sign up for it.
Yeah.
And I looked at the one down the road, they charge $62 per person to do it.
Where?
There's the sports one,
Oh,
I'm sorry, not down that road. It's up there somewhere. It's near us. So I mean, obviously we wouldn't charge $62 per person, but it could be a way for us to make some money while we are open hours. So people in the late summer could sign up and.
During COVID, we did, to try and keep some.
The scavenger hunt.
Yeah, we developed a lot of great content.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there's a way to leverage that, whether that could be.
So I was
guided tour.
I was thinking if we could, so different companies, and I don't know if it would be a liability issue, different companies do scavenger hunts. Where you have to like send a photo, you have to take photos of different things, and then the first team back with all the appropriate photos, like wins a prize. But we could set something like that. I was thinking like, we would have food trucks and everybody like, you know, buys food or, and then we give out the clues and they have like 45 minutes to go. But because people are driving, we would have to see what the liability.
Yeah,
is
maybe
for that.
maybe it's not a time thing, but it's still a contest
Yeah.
or something like that. I think there's a way you could do that.
Yeah, but I was thinking about that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a lot of good local things.
Local things to see.
Whereas, you know. Okay.
I want to make sure people get out here at a good time. All right, so good, there's some good plans.
And just to make sure we're good with proceeding with the first YouTube video, which is the 2.5 editor with Wendy on the 2024.
Yeah, any objections to that?
And obviously I have to work with John to make sure that he'll do the posting properly. Because I don't have any access to that.
We'll be a little more lax than Joe was.
The township, yeah, so the Heritage Center itself doesn't have,
Yeah.
so we have, well, I shouldn't say that, we have off of. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Let's move on so we get people out of here. Museum hours is something we want to talk about very quickly. I mean, I would move to keep them similar to where they are now.
Are we gonna do this Thursday?
And the question is Thursday night, you know, I sat here many Thursday nights, well, let me rephrase, I sat here probably about a dozen Thursday nights, last year. And really nobody came in, so, you know, I'm not sure if it's worthwhile staying open Thursday night.
I think keeping the lectures on Thursday night is a good idea.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are definitely, yeah, those, and I think as many times as often as we make sure that we keep it on Thursday nights, great, because it gets confusing for people. But I don't know if we should have, I entertain the idea of having the place open one night a week, so people that couldn't get here during the day might come in the evening. But I'm not sure how,
You have to have a draw,
Yeah.
a reason to,
Right.
yeah,
to come.
so I'm thinking about shelving the Thursday nights at this point and going with the schedule as it was without Thursday.
Unless you do it for access for
A special.
A group.
I think Thursday should be our evening.
Yeah.
Opportunity.
So we can say
Yeah,
Thursday.
I like that, 'cause it has that
If it's
consistency.
scheduled, like,
What do you mean?
like if a group wants like a.
Oh,
a
yeah,
scout
yeah,
wants to come in on Thursday night, we
course,
can open up
yes.
for that.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. Where a group can't come during the daytime and they want to come in and they don't have to come in the week.
Yeah.
We say Thursdays are, we can
Yeah.
make that.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, the other idea was just to be open on Thursday night so people come in, but it's, like I said, I didn't get very many people.
Yeah, I think.
So we can put on our schedule and I'll write it up and send it to you, John. Thursday by appointment, Thursday evening by appointment only. Would that work?
That's a good idea.
Mhm.
And then they would just have to make an appointment.
I'll do that. Maybe sell that a little bit more, could say something like, got a group who can't come in during the day.
Yeah,
Thursdays are available by appointment, we'll,
Yeah.
we can host you, we can take you through the collections. and
I'll
stuff
send
like
it to you.
Yeah.
You can write it up. That sounds great.
Sounds like.
Let me write that down.
So I guess we should vote on that, so somebody move, could somebody make a
I'll
motion
take the
to
motion
accept?
to accept the hour. Next Thursday night.
Second. Everybody in agreement? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? All right, speakers, I think we've already
We already
talked about.
talked about that.
Great,
Special exhibits, we were talking about doing special exhibits based on what the speaker was talking about, so our special exhibits will be just connected to those speakers or something.
can I add something on a special, this is 2024, we've got big election year. I was looking for a ward map for the canvas. And I could, I mean, I Googled it, went to all extent, I couldn't, for some reason I couldn't find it, I don't know if it's
It
mine.
should be on the campus site. It is on the campus site,
Oh, is it? Okay.
but it's gonna change too.
Okay, all right, that's good.
Why did it change? Just-
Center.
Maybe they just reinforce.
RJ just
To make
put
it
in
even.
about a year.
Population.
Okay,
It's a GIS map, basically.
okay,
They're not
You
even.
can put in, enter your
Like,
address
So what's
and it
the
zooms in and it's color blocked and everything like
Okay.
that.
Districts.
So I was thinking about something in 61 here,
Six
to
months.
show, political districts or whatnot, I know they changed, that's not the only problem. But something in here that could be a reference to residents about, about that type of stuff.
I think we did something 4 years ago, just around November, just, do we have some things in the collection?
Why not-
Do we
why
have
not?
something that could tie in with elections?
So-
Historical.
From my understanding, we are very limited in what we can do for elections because we are a township. We can't. We can't post anything about elections, even even older ones, because it might seem like we're leaning one way or the other for Democratic or Republican. So I would say if we're doing something, it would have to be about voting. And we'd have to make a very conscious effort. We can't talk about historical elections where one person won over another, because then it's showing bias.
If it's cumulative,
We-
though.
Yeah. So we just we have to be careful.
Because we're still a township.
And I think that, but my vision is to show sort of like a PA government, how the canvas fits in the PA government, sort of an educational thing.
And that would be
But-
perfect.
I know we're really running short on time here. I don't want to keep people late. I have to go.
I love that.
Okay, so we'll work on that.
Yep.
Something
A little civics.
Yeah.
Or the civics.
And then you have person here, I love it.
Yeah, like that. I've been wanting to do that for a while.
The other things for special exhibits, I've been in contact, somebody's gonna be coming in to fix our jukebox that is being paid for by Steve Bullock.
Oh, Steve Bullock,
It will be paid for it.
It's Chris Eddy who's working on it. We haven't heard from him since before Christmas, but.
No,
We
I
can-
talked to him today.
Oh.
Yeah,
Is Chris gonna do
Huh?
it? Is he gonna do it?
Chris Eddy said.
yeah, Chris said he's gonna come in and do it. He can only do it in the evening, so it'll be an evening where if I can't be here, we'll see if
Yeah, we can.
If somebody
trade
can
or
be
something
here.
Like
Yeah.
that.
just, we can't leave him alone, but.
Can we bring our own singles then?
The other item is, Beatty came today, this is, I'm ridiculously excited about this, to look at all our rusty roller coaster parts in the basement. And they said they can do something with it.
No way.
Yes.
No.
Beatty Tech, two of the building construction people, we've been in contact a few times. Mike Funyak was helping me out, get some pictures. Look at some that were already reconstructed. Obviously, it is not, you can't take it on the rails. It's not gonna be roller coaster safe. But they believe, and they're still, figuring everything out. They can believe they can make it into a replica that people can actually sit in. We'll get it painted like it is.
Could they make it weatherable if you could put it outside?
Probably not.
That'd be so.
Probably not, but we'll
that'd
be
be
able to, it'll be on wheels so we can.
That would be, if they could do that, that would be a fantastic.
People would love to come and sit on it. If they can't do that, if it doesn't fit, if it doesn't if they can't do it, they said that they would take some of the items that we have down there, clean them up for us. If we decide some of the wheels, I think we need to get the rust off, but I think the bars are fine how they are. And then we're gonna mount them so we can display them. And that's the minimum that they're gonna do. They are so excited, very excited about it. But it is gonna take a little fundraising to buy the materials for it. They gave me an offhand and they haven't really researched it at all, besides, them being excited about it and looking it up. But they're thinking it's probably gonna be between $2,000 and $3,000 worth of
Well, I
materials.
think the estimate that one guy was like 30,000-40,000. That's a lot better.
So between $3,000 and $30,000. Sounds like we're getting hard at that.
But they said it probably won't be done until the end of next school year, so 2025.
That's pretty darn good.
2025, which I thought was great because it's something I'm sure they're gonna have the kids work on.
The great thing is you can document it and that becomes.
And it's something for them, it's something for us. They built the building, so it's great. They're so excited.
And those are the types of things that could become videos,
Oh,
Just think of it. Add to the, the time that transformation.
But I'm ridiculously excited about it. Then
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
the next one is the Bradford Woods Science Fair History Room. So Bradford Woods Elementary School is having a science fair. We're gonna have a table there. I'm gonna take brochures. Hopefully, it's at the end of February, so I was gonna, Kevin, send you the list of all our speakers and little descriptions so you can.
Yeah, we need something like that.
So we can hand out so people can
Your-
schedule it at a time.
I-
So they were very excited about us coming and doing that. We're also gonna have a table at the North Allegheny Alumni Dinner next week. The volunteers, they are so wonderful. Today I said, they just called me today and they want us to do a table next week, and the volunteers were like, no problem, I got you. They got stuff together, so I just have to write little blurbs about it and we're good to go. So that's where we are with that. And the last item is, can we advertise for a unpaid college intern for the summer who wants to work sporadic hours to get some of our stuff digitized?
Oh, I could use the help on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Easily, yeah.
So I don't know.
As a town,
That's what I don't know.
yeah, that person to talk to there would be Trisha.
Trisha, I'll ask Trisha.
Yeah, because the town, even though they're unpaid, there's still cost to town. and
Yes,
that
that's what I
fun
didn't know
stuff.
about.
Yes,
Thank you.
Trisha has the answers for that one.
Awesome, I'll ask her.
All right, and we've already spoken about clearances, for
Yes,
volunteers, we need to get
clearances.
those.
Yeah.
All right, and we're gonna plan for that.
Would Trisha be who I talked to about paying for clearances for
Um,
volunteers?
I just looked it up. It's $35 for combined, the criminal history and the PH abuse. So just
Yeah.
in general, yes, I think we could probably, the council would probably approve of something like that. But any of these things, don't forget, the council still needs activity sheets, like the project sheets, which hasn't been happening from the Heritage
Do
Center.
you know what those project sheets look like?
I
'Cause
can send
can't-
you one.
Yes.
They've been sent to the past chairs of the board
Okay,
here
I
several
have not
times.
received it.
I will make sure you get one.
Cause I'm happy to, I'm really good at filling out forms.
Okay, and they're very simple. It's just basically who's involved, what town resources are needed. You know, what is the project, the goal, and very like
Yeah.
one page.
It's a one pager, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
happy to fill them out. I just
Yeah, because.
don't have them.
And these aren't things that require a vote from council, but council
you need
really
to have
wants
a
to know
record.
what's going on,
Yeah.
and typically we just give a head nod.
Yeah.
Like, Dawn will probably say the next meeting, everybody had an opportunity to look through the activities that are presented at the Heritage Center. Can I have a head nod that the council approves? Yes, you know, and very little are we gonna say no, but you guys are doing great things, but just, it needs to be done.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do it.
All right. Any public comment? All right, very good. Then, motion to adjourn.
I'm making a motion to adjourn.
Everybody in favor? Anybody against? Very good. All right, thank you, folks.